How do you think you can understand your body better? 99% of our human evolution, we did not snack every 2 hours. Defense mechanism of our body is flawed or tricked into. Have you either ever struggled to stick to good habits or letting go of bad habits? Emotional hunger is the toughest to handle. How do you cater to emotional hunger? There is no perfect diet. Is there? If you are struggling with any of these topics, please continue watching. Hello everyone. Almost the end of year 2025. Year has gone by so fast, at least for me. So this year as Wide Fit coach, I witnessed a lot of things that actually blown my mind. Almost 50 people who joined my wellness program transformed their health, be it reducing the inflammation or releasing weight, uh, balancing their lipid profile, which is well within their healthy range, reversing type 2 diabetes, letting go of fatty liver, getting better sleep, constant energy throughout the day, better focus. In fact, many of you have got back to your early 20s weight, which is incredible. So the list goes on and on. First of all, I want to tell you that thanks for trusting me, and at the same time, thanks for believing in yourself. And it was possible because you believed in yourself, right? And with all these incredible victories, there was also a lot of lessons learned, at least for me, over the past year. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share top 5 learnings of this year while I was coaching, while I was being part of the Wide Fit program. If you stay till the end, one thing I can promise is that one of the learnings might even completely shift what you believe is possible for your body. So keep watching. Lesson number 1 of 2025. Every body is different. You must understand the body to transform it. Now, everyone knows that every one of us are different human beings. Every one of our body is different. So this also means the food that you eat, which you think is optimal for you, may not be optimal for others. So let me explain what do I mean by that. If you take, for example, an apple, right, and many nutritionists say that this has so many calories, right? And ideally, when you eat that, let's say it has 30 calories, for example, I'm just taking an example. If it has 30 calories, and when you eat it, it should generate equivalent energy of 30 calories for you, for me, for everyone, right? The calculation looks right, but unfortunately, that's not how our body works. The body generates every each one of our body has a mechanism to generate energy, and it has its own way of generating energy in each one of us. And what is important is to understand that mechanism for you, what is working for you, right? What food is actually giving you energy, right? um, and when you understand that, when you understand what food gives you energy, and when you work on it, that's when the real magic happens. Let me explain by taking my own example. Okay. A couple of years back, I used to eat healthy. Always throughout my life, I've been a conscious eater. I have spent time to understand my food, and also took a lot of effort to uh, you know eat healthy in the past. Uh, but a couple of after I took this up, which is a wide fit program, it completely changed the way I look at food. And at the same time, it also made me question as to what are those foods that really gives me energy. Every ingredient, or the every food that we eat, is an information for our body. But yes, it is information, but do we know how to process that information? Do we know what exactly happens? For example, when you eat uh, rice, when you eat vegetables, when you eat certain fruits, right? Because I'll tell you, you know, an apple or a pear, right? If I eat apple or a pear, I will not get sudden blood sugar spike. But I have a friend who actually eats pear and his blood sugar spikes up, right? And these are all different indications, signals that gives you that actually that helps you to gather information. And what I did to gather this information was very simple, what we call as journaling, right? um, on a daily basis, uh, what I started doing, which was somewhere during last year, was that uh, what I eat, how do I feel, how was my energy, how was the sleep during the on that day, and then how was the physical activity, what was any were there any mindfulness activity which I took up. So these are 5 or 6 categories which I daily started logging in my journal. And it was simple digital notebook, text based, nothing fancy, no counting of calories. It is just the type of food which I ate, list of food which I ate, uh, and then how did I feel during morning, during afternoon, and during evening. How was my energy, right? Uh, and how did I sleep that night? And did I do any kind of physical sports or activity? I usually do a lot of. I play tennis. I go for running. I go to gym. So different activities. So I logged each and every one of them, and also I had the data of my uh, activity tracker watch, which actually logged all those information apart from what I logged in my digital notebook. Okay, so these were all information I collected for uh, close to 9 months, right? And once I once I did that, once I collected that information, I used tools, which is ChatGPT in this case, and actually I try to understand the pattern, right? A couple of patterns which I wanted to know was which food gave me, let's say, good energy, which food did not give me good energy, and conversely, if I have to be at optimal energy level on a given day, what should I eat on the day or day before and day 2 days before, like that. So I could generate patterns out of this data which was collected, and it was actually eye-opening for me. And you should definitely try this. And couple of you know things which I learned from this was that, number one, um, when I eat grains like wheat, right, uh, it gave me optimal energy 2 days later. When I eat grains like rice, it gave me optimal energy 1 day later. If I ate um, um, millets, the energy was optimal anywhere between 1 to 2 days. So it was between rice and wheat. So now I know exactly, uh, if I need optimal energy for any kind of sports or activity on a given day, what should I eat 2 days before and 1 day before? And similarly, I've generated a lot of information out of what I've gathered for fruits, vegetables, different types of varieties of vegetables. It actually helped me to understand my body better. In fact, um, one thing which I also observed during while I collected the information was that uh, honey, when I took honey, uh, my blood sugar spiked uh, like any other. It spiked very high, and it stayed there for some time. But it did not happen with uh, some of the dietary sugar for me. Uh, but honey, we say it as natural, but for me it was taking that adverse or negative impact on my body. So you may have to see such signals by collecting the data so that you can gather information out of it. So I want you to understand your body better, and in order to do that, you have to start journaling. And that's one of the tools, effective tools, which is available out there, which you can use, uh, and you don't have to pay anything for it. You can do it for yourself. It's just that that self discipline is needed, and it hardly takes a minute or two in a day to log whatever you have been doing. And if you have a template, you can actually gather it within 1 or 2 minutes. So having said that, please start logging it, and then you yourself can see and understand your body better. Learning number two: the closer your diet to the human evolution, the better the healing of your body will be. Now, human evolution. If you look at the history of human evolution, human evolution started 250,000 years ago. So, for over 99% of our existence, we humans did not snack every 2 hours. They didn't count calories, they didn't read any ingredients labels. In fact, they listened to their hungers. They respected different seasons and they trusted their body. If you look at today, what's happening out there, wherever you go to supermarkets, you go to any food stalls or restaurants, you see processed or ultra processed food, and you eat at least 3 to 5 times a day, and your body is sending artificial signals. Just after uh, eating, like 30 minutes after, you get the false hunger triggered. These are all are actually evolutionary mismatches. Your body is evolved to eat whole natural food. I am not asking you to go to a jungle and stay there with animals and hunt the animals and eat. You can eat uh, whole, lean, natural, wild caught meat, or you can eat whole, natural grains. You can eat uh, different types of legumes. You can eat variety of vegetables. You can eat a variety of dietary sugar, in this case fruits. So there are much more variety of natural food than you think. And when you start eating naturally, when you start eating those whole foods, you you can already see the difference within 4 to 5 days. You feel lighter. You do not have any brain fog. You have more focus. You have constant energy during and throughout the day. And it is very simple. It's not it's not a rocket science. And when you start doing that, your body heals much better. You observe when you are eating clean, uh, you hardly get any viral attack. Even when you get, you can continue with your day-to-day chores. And when you have some kind of accident like cut or some physical injury, it heals 50% faster. So all those, when you observe, you can motivate, inspire yourself to eat clean, and you don't have to uh, depend on anyone for you to eat clean. So that is something which which you can start today, right? And when you start observing, when you start understanding, which was our lesson number one, right? When you start understanding, it becomes so much easier for you to eat clean. So why wait? Start today. Lesson number three is about habits. Habits can be changed, even the one you think it cannot. So let me take a step back and talk about what do you mean by habits. So if you look at habits, they are just any other activity that you possibly do or not do repeatedly. Uh, Watching Netflix, it can become a habit. Smoking, it can become a habit. Uh, Eating fruits early morning, it can become a habit. Uh, Not having dinner uh, in the night, that can become a habit. Or having early dinner, that can become a habit. So all these are activity when you start doing repeatedly, that is eventually called an habit. And if you look at psychology, habit is developed using this mechanism, which is, in order for certain habit to get ingrained in you, it will have a trigger, certain cue, and then that habit or a behavior that you perform, that trigger will leads to that behavior. And then behavior, once you do that behavior, you will have some reward that will encourage you to repeat that behavior again. That's the beauty of a habit. uh, it will have a trigger, behavior, and a reward. So it is very simple. If you have to, let's say, develop any habits, and if you want to gain interest in that habit, you need to find a trigger and you need to find uh, a reward for it. Then automatically that behavior will become ingrained into you and that becomes a habit. So example of, let's say, cooking healthy, right? If you want to cook healthy meals, right, you want to develop it as a habit, then you need to find a trigger for it. How can I trigger that habit? So for example, when you come from office late in the evening, when you look at the kitchen and if it is not clean, right, definitely it will not trigger you to cook healthy or even cook, right? So you can trigger that mechanism, you can trigger that idea of cooking healthy when you keep your kitchen clean. So that possibly could be the trigger. So in order to do that, before you leave to office, you keep the kitchen clean so that when you come back home, you look at the kitchen, it looks clean, and that triggers you to cook healthy. So that's a trigger, and that will help you to take the behavior which is cooking healthy, and then you find a reward when you cook healthy. It could be anything. So ask your spouse to make a nice cup of tea after eating healthy, right? So that could be a reward. So when you develop this for 1 week, 2 week, and 3 weeks, it becomes a habit. Cooking healthy becomes a habit. And similarly with this is one of the example of good habits, right? And bad habits also, it's in psychology, there is no good and bad habits, it's just habits, right? So if you take bad habits, for example, smoking, or even drinking for that matter, right? Take an example of friends, right? Close friends. When you meet friends, that is the trigger, and behavior is either smoking or drinking, and then reward is staying with friends for more time. That's the reward, right? So either good or bad habits, it's actually have this process of having a trigger behavior and then uh, identifying reward and enjoying it. So now, one interesting thing which I want to tell you is that uh, in order to when you identify trigger and when you identify reward, you can continue for sure. And what will also help you to uh, if you want to continue developing those good habits, if you want to continue practicing that good habits, what will essentially help is follow a pattern regularly so that it is ingrained in you. So good habits will never go away then if you maintain the pattern. For example, I mentioned eating fruits, right? You pick a time of the day where and when you eat fruits, right? And when you eat at a particular time, when you follow the pattern, next day automatically you get that signal in your body by subconscious mind saying that this is time for eating fruits. It's as simple as that. And in order to develop these big habits, follow the pattern. And now, more importantly, for bad habits, how do you get rid of those bad habits? It's other way around. You have to break the pattern. For example, you're watching Netflix and you're habitual Netflix watcher, right? Every day after dinner you switch on Netflix and watch it. You start breaking the pattern. For a difference, you watch it before dinner or you watch it during office hours, right? So when you break that pattern, next time when after dinner you don't feel like watching it because you have broken that pattern. So in summary, habits can be changed. You need to identify your trigger, behavior, and reward for each of your habits. And if it is good habits, try to follow the pattern and follow it for at least 3 to 4 weeks, and it becomes ingrained in you. If you have to get rid of bad habits, break the pattern, keep breaking it until you lose interest in it. Craving is real. Now, what do you mean by craving? Craving is something of an urge to eat certain food. And when it comes to craving, there are, I categorize them into two categories. So first one being nutritional craving, and second one being emotional craving. So let me give an example of nutritional craving. When you feel like wanting to have more salts, when you feel like your throat is dried out, your lips are drying out, when you have some cramp in your legs and you feel like having some salts, those are all real nutritional craving. Let me give an example of emotional craving. Emotional craving is uh, when it rains, you want to eat pakoras, and you like you would like to have chips. Your body is not really craving for salt, but it's actually craving for a particular brand of chips. Your body is craving for particular brand of ice cream. Your body is craving for particular brand of burger. Your body is craving for particular brand of pizza, right? All those are emotional craving. And emotional craving also, it's 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 not bad to have. In fact, emotional craving is more of a defense mechanism which we have developed years and years ago while we were, as part of human evolution. When there was winter season, there was no food, and if and when someone found food, they just grab and hug on it. And even today we actually see that. In the winter, you see, you go to any market, you go to any shops, you see the food, you feel like, hog on it. It's not the fault of you. It's that body's defense mechanism which is trying to trigger that, saying that, hey, you may not get food anytime soon because this is winter, so go and hog on it. But you need to tell yourself you are living in a different world now. You don't need to, trigger that defense mechanism during winter. So this is one of the ways to, uh, you know to cater to your emotional needs at that time, especially when during winter, if this happens. And apart from winter, there are other emotional cravings which will come up if you are used to eating, um, depending on your moods, like when you feel happy, when you feel angry, when you feel sad, when you feel helpless, right? All these emotions, when you attach that emotions to, food, that's when emotional cravings would come up. And without even knowing, you without even realizing that you would have developed that habit. So when the craving comes, I want you to recognize if it is a nutritional craving or if it is really emotional craving. Once you categorize it, if it is nutritional craving, you just go and cater to those cravings, because nutritional cravings, simple, test if it is a nutritional craving or not is, it does not crave for specific brand. It does not crave for specific food. It just says, I want to uh, drink something salty. I want to drink something spicy. I want to drink something uh, uh, sugary, whatever. Right. So those are the type of nutritional cravings. If that happens, cater to it. And then if it is not nutritional craving, then it is an emotional craving. And how do you cater to emotional cravings? Emotional craving is, it is one of the toughest um hunger or craving to cater to, because it's all in the mind, and you have different thoughts which goes on in your mind, both positive and negative. And in many cases, especially when it comes to emotional craving, your negative thoughts will take over. And when that happens, right, you will have to have a dialogue within yourself, saying that, okay, so why do I need to have it now? Is it necessary? Okay, other thought, negative thought would come up and say, yes, I need it. I need to have it now because yeah, it's been really bad days. So let me just enjoy whatever is there, right? And that's where you need to, have those dialogues and see, if you really need that. And secondly, how you can uh, cater to it. Maybe talking to someone over phone or talking to someone face to face, sharing those feelings, right? So that itself will help you to take that burden off of those emotions. You don't have to cater those feelings, those emotions with food. If you start doing that, then within no time you will develop a habit of emotional eating, which is not very good. So in summary, identify nutritional or emotional craving, and if it is nutritional, cater to it. If it is emotional, you need to have a dialogue within yourself. Lesson 5: there is no perfect plate of healthy food that suits everyone. What do I mean by that? So I have seen uh, and read a lot of blogs. I have seen a lot of videos from a lot of nutritionists, and I've seen uh, a healthy plate where half of it containing uh, non-starchy, colored variety of vegetables, and quarter of a plate containing uh, any types of carbohydrates, and remaining quarter of a plate containing protein. Yes, this is a perfect plate of healthy food when you are performing uh, different types of physical activity, when you're involved in a lot of mental activity in a given day. But let me ask you a question. How active are you on a daily basis? Do you take at least 10 to 12,000 steps a day, or do you play any sports actively on a daily basis? Do you move enough? Most of the people today work in front of computers. They hardly move throughout the day, and hence there is no physical activity. Of course, there is some kind of mental activity which is there, but physical and mental activity is not balancing out. So my main theory is that, and this is something I've experimented multiple times on myself, and also many of my participants, uh, that you don't need that perfect plate on a daily basis if you're not moving enough, if you're not uh, completely mentally active. So there are ways where you can consume the food and still be op- of optimal health without being that perfect plate. So the problem with that perfect plate is that when you don't move, you don't need so much protein to recover or repair your muscles and body. And when you don't move enough, you don't need so much carbohydrates, um, that eventually converts into fat if you don't utilize them. So the question that you need to ask yourself is that the perfect plate that you're looking for, and you're doing all the things that needs to be done in order to take that perfect plate. So answer that question before considering that as a perfect place. I've seen people saying that I eat like two rotis every day with lot of vegetables, but still I'm not able to release weight. I ask them, what kind of movement, what are the physical activities that you perform? And also, uh, as you age from 30 to 40 to 50, you actually need to increase the physical activity, intensity of physical activity that you're doing. And proportionally, as and when you increase the physical activity, of course, you need to also increase the amount of protein that you're taking. But in order to do that, you have to firstly understand your body. And that was my lesson number one. And each of the lessons which I have covered today are dependent on each other, and they are so relevant for your day-to-day life, um, to stay healthy, to stay fitter, and also to continue this, sustain these habits for the future. Having said that, um, these learnings which I have shared with you today, it's been um part of my life since last year or so, and I have been regularly practicing it, and also helping a lot of people around to uh, ingrain these habits into them so that they can sustain it for the future is also. So having said that, it's been incredible joy to share everything which I have shared today, and wish you all uh, happy and successful new year 2026. Thank you.